Howdy folks, X here, and welcome to Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 63. And today we're going to delve into one of my favorite mechs, that 70-ton Grasshopper. Yes, it's a really nice mech. It fits me quite well like a glove. Now, this 70-tonner is a 464, so it's a very mobile mech for a heavy. It gets around. It has 208 points of armor, which is, I think, 9 short of maximum. It has 1 large laser in the center torso, 4 medium lasers, right and left arm, right and left torso. And it has a LRM5 in the head, and 1 ton of ammo in the right torso, which can be a problem. And then we have 4 jump jets in the right and left legs. What do I like about this thing? Well, as a mech commander that likes to spend a lot of time as a mercenary running around in the backfield doing long range operations, this guy does the job. When you look at something that can go 24 turns with an LRM, yeah, it's only an LRM5, so it's kind of a harassment type of weapon. You don't have to go near supply depot very often, so you just kind of run around. And all you have to worry about is the fusion reactor supplying energy to the energy weapons. So you can go and do all kinds of long-range operations behind the lines and just keep on going. And let's just think if you had a lance with a whole bunch of these. Think about that. You could go a long time causing lots of troubles for somebody, which is good. Now, one of the weaknesses of this mech, though, is when it comes to taking on infantry. Yeah, you don't have anything that's an anti-infantry weapon other than your lasers and an LRM. So the LRM is very minor, so it's going to do a little bit of damage to infantry. And obviously you're going to be basically turning each warrior into an incandescent warrior for each laser, for 1-for-1. So if you find infantry is a problem, stay away from them, or else you're going to be, well, taking a while to whittle down a platoon. Alright, that's one of the weaknesses of this thing. And like I said, though, its biggest pro is it has energy weapons, and I think that's a big plus sign. Oh, and I forgot to mention 22, yes, you heard it right, 22 heat sinks. So this thing does not have to worry about heat unless you're jumping. Now, with energy weapons, you fire the energy, so you fire the large laser and the 4 medium lasers. 20, if you run, that's 22, so you don't heat up. Now, if you jump, like try to get in behind somebody to do a jump, you're going to go up too. So that's not really a big deal. So you can do that for a couple turns and then not fire something and cool off again and then get right back into it. And that's what I like about this mech. It's really good for lots of different types of terrain. So if you're in a wooded area and you need to get around through the woods quickly, this thing can jump through woods. That's because of jump jet. You put it into a city fight, this thing can jump behind other mechs, let's say other heavies and assaults, and just jump behind them and unload with a whole bunch of medium lasers and that large laser, and then go, oh, okay, I'm going to kick you, and then jump away. What are you going to do? And if he has a couple of lance mates that are just as mobile, boy, one mech can be ganged up on pretty quickly and tore down. And then with the being a 464, it can displace fairly decently. You know, it's not like a medium or a light mech that's, you know, that could be a 6 or a 5.8 or a 7.11 or something of that nature that are really flying along. But a 464 can try to intercept it, and when you got some decent ranged weapon like the large laser and that LRM, yeah, you can do a little harassment. Now, any type of light mech that decides to get near this guy, well, they're going to be probably having a bad day, because if this thing connects up with those medium lasers and that large laser, to be honest with you, most of the time, my personal experience, a light mech just sort of disappears really quickly, especially if you got a good pilot. And I usually put a good pilot in it because I'm going to be using it in a very highly mobile cav type operations where you're going to be displacing as fast as you can, and I want a good gunner in it, good pilot that can use this thing to the best ability. Now, for variants, they say there are no common variants. Well, that's interesting because, well, there is a few. When I've looked at it before, I think it's the K. Yeah, I think it's the K. And, maybe not. Let me look here. Bring up the mech thing. Where is it? Or is that the R? Let me see. Oh, it's the N. N. Now the N version, no, that's a 62. No, that's not it. R. Another 62. It's the K. Or the C. Nope, not the C. The K version. Oh, it's all pulse lasers. Well, there is one version somewhere in there that I can't remember. Maybe, or is it the J? No. Everything I can see here, maybe it's the one I have seen in the past, which, well, there's another one which I do have that I usually use, is the one where I'll drop the LRM5, and that frees up like 3 tons. And what I do with it is replace the LRM with 2 more medium lasers and max out the rest of my armor, and that way I'm able to basically run around with the 22 heat sinks, and then yeah, it has 22 heat. Yeah, you got 22 heat sinks, 6 medium lasers, and a large laser. And being still a 464, and what I do with it is totally running around behind the lines, and I don't see it as a big issue losing the basically replacing in the head a medium laser for a LRM5, and then putting it where the what do you call it, ammo bay, replace the ammo bay area with another medium laser, so you got 6. And what I like to do is you still have that large laser, so when you're going in you have something that's a little bit longer, and then when you get within 9, typically if you're within 6, I'll just switch over to 100% into the medium lasers and fire all 6 of those. And trust me, when you have 6 of those and you're able to dish out potentially 30 points of damage, anything really kind of notice it when you're getting hit with that many little hits. And it also helps when you're doing that, is that if you have anybody that you hit before and you hit them, like say, and jump behind them, and then you hit them with those medium lasers and you're ripped off the armor, and then they moved and then you jump behind them again, or you fly out, displace and get behind somebody else, or and then the next turn get behind them again and hit them where they don't have any rear armor, you're tearing out the internal structure, and then you're also crit hunting basically. And if you got any type of mechs, especially if you're running in the 30-25, 30-39 era where you don't have any of the case or anything of that nature, then you end up with potential of hitting ammo and then just blowing somebody to sky high. And that's usually the biggest thing I always find with this mech, is that it's really good for crit hunting when it's getting in behind people. Now, when it comes to using heavy mechs like this, this mech here is being as mobile as it is. There's been times where I have used it in conjunction and throwing it into like an assault lance. So you have some missile boat or heavy assault mechs. They're slowly slugging it up the center someplace, and this guy's a little bit more mobile. He's able to get into positions and then fill the role of a heavy scout. He has the armor and able to handle a few turns against, say, something that's heavier or an assault class, and trying to stay as mobile as possible and getting into good terrain like woods, behind hills, buildings, getting that partial cover bonus, and then swinging the modifiers in your favor instead of getting hammered, while you're in turn being used for launching off LRMs and possibly softening up some slow-moving assault mech that will whittle it down, so when the pigs get into place, they're able to beat the heck out of that thing because you already softened it up for a period of time, if they don't have the ability to get eyes on immediately. And that's what I like using this thing for. If I'm not using it as a scout, basically eyes and ears for an assault lance. Now this thing really works good. Let's say you got it into a lance, like you have centurions, anything that's a 4-6 moving medium mech, this fits right into it also. And I like to use these guys, get some 4-6 4s, or they have some jump jets or something of that nature, medium mechs, even a Panther for that matter, where they're all the same movement modifier and they're mobile, so they can go moving around, displacing from position to position and getting into the best position possible, and trying to negate the ability of the enemy to get into a position that is beneficial for them. If you can get there first and then lock up that position and then work it to your favor. Yeah, that's one way I like to use this thing also. Now, if you have any interesting stories or anything you have for the Grasshopper, let me know. Put it down below, and we'll see you in the next one. This is Hawk Rex, and we'll talk with you later.